So, as discussed last episode, some recent episode, I've started running more.
It was like 2 episodes ago, but
Yeah.
one of those was in a pre-show, and so not everybody knows about it, Daniel.
Good point. Good point. I've been trying to run more, going pretty well so far, and
You
I
make me
think
feel like an influencer, Daniel.
I think there's going to be kind of like an ongoing thing of me asking you questions about running, which I know you're here for. And my current one is I'm wondering when I should buy new running shoes. And the reason I ask that question is I have running shoes that I wear and they're very old. I was trying to remember how old they are. They're probably about 10 years old if I had to guess, because I think I bought them before, at some point, not immediately before, but like at some point before I ran my last 10K, which has been like,
that was 2017, Daniel.
yeah, well, it's 2017. It's been 9 years. And I mean, these shoes are comfortable. I don't feel in pain when I use them, but like past couple days, my knees have been hurting pretty bad from, like various walking and running. And like, I'm thinking that tomorrow, instead of running, like I might do like bike or something, because I feel like I just need to like give my knees like a day to recover. Like I think they're just not used to the impact. But it made me wonder if I also need to consider getting new running shoes. What do you think?
I think a lot of things. One, I think that you have to slowly increase volume of exercise, and even if it's like if you added that stinking walking mat to your desk and you're like, I'm walking 5 miles a day on top of running now. That's just a lot on your joints. And if you're not used to it, it's just like a lot. If you're running 3 days a week and now all of a sudden you're also taking 10,000 steps on top of that, it's so much all of a sudden.
Yeah, that's probably true.
If you build up to that, your body will be able to handle it just fine. Your knees won't hurt.
Okay.
But if you're just like all of a sudden now doing 10,000 steps a day on top of running 3 times a week, that's just a lot for your body.
So are you saying I shouldn't push through the pain?
I'm saying that you will get like repetitive injury, like use injury from this if you don't like scale up.
Okay.
So yeah, tomorrow, don't run.
Fine.
2, knee pain can be attributed to a number of different things, but shoes, yes, sure. If you're not running correctly, like if you're not striking correctly, then you could be putting too much shock through your knees. So like, 1, check your running form, which we can talk about if you want to. 2 is, I don't know if you're stretching.
No. Why would I do that? That's a ridiculous idea.
It's
just going to take time.
Oh my God. Like not necessarily like stretch. Like you probably should stretch a little bit before you run. But like, say you have a day that you don't go to the gym or an evening. Like you're way more flexible than me, so you probably don't even need to do this. But things like your hips and your calves and your hamstrings and your quads and all that stuff supports your knees for running. And so like for me, if I don't like make sure that I'm appropriately stretching like my hip flexors and my glutes and all that sort of stuff, it will pull on the outsides of my knees. And if I run like 10 miles and I haven't been appropriately like stretching my calves and my Achilles and my hips, then I will get knee pain.
Interesting.
And it's not my shoes and it's not my knees. It's everything that's connected to that system.
So what you said is maybe what I wasn't expecting. Like, I guess I always thought that's like stretch before you run, like right before. And it sounds like you're saying it's more like you just need to be stretching at some point.
I'm talking about, just like improving mobility. And like you probably should stretch some before you run so you don't pull a muscle.
Sure.
Depending on like how hard you're trying. But if you're just going out there and like jogging.
That's what I'm doing, yeah.
Like whatever. Don't worry about it. It's more of like if you're like really getting into running and as you're increasing that volume, if you don't start working on not just stretching, but like mobility. And there's like some workout videos that you can do where it's like functional strength where you're moving through the stretch to build all those supportive muscles. If your body's just like if you're like have a sedentary job or something, you're not used to doing a lot of that running and that sort of thing, you may have atrophied like the parts of your like legs and stuff that would support your knees or like support your hips appropriately.
Seems believable. I do have a sedentary job.
And so it's like you kind of have to, like, if you're really going to get into running, it's good to be doing things to help support those. And I would just look up like like functional stretches or stuff on YouTube, or I can send you links to things that I found that are good. That's like, here's a 30-minute like thing that is pretty good, and maybe do that like once a week for a while or whatever. It's not like do it right before. It's just like do it periodically.
That's more approachable. I can see doing that.
Those are like those things. And then the third one is like, it could be inflammation. So like, if because of all the extra use, your knees are inflamed, and they're mad at you because of all the walking and the running and everything.
I feel like that has probably happened because I increased the volume maybe too quickly,
and that'll like calm down over time. But like, ice your knees, and it'll be fine. And then, so like, those are all of those things. The running shoe thing depends upon your shoes. If you like, in the last 10 years, running shoes have made like a gigantic leap forward. Like running shoes were kind of just the same until 2005, and then from 2005 to now, it's just exploded.
Okay,
like running shoes are crazy now, Daniel. And if you're into tech, I mean, it's fun to get new gear. And so my advice is like, heck yeah, let's go buy some running shoes. Love running shoes. I've previously mentioned that I subscribe to Running Shoe Geeks.
Yes, you have. Yep.
Like carbon plates and all this sort of stuff.
Oh my gosh.
Anyways, but depending on what you bought and what you have, if your treads aren't worn out and they're not like making your feet hurt, you're not getting blisters, you're probably fine. If you bought foam shoes, which is like the hot new thing since 2019, 2020, those foams, especially the early foams.
Yeah.
So like,
I'm pretty sure I don't have that.
I don't know how well they hold up.
The ones I have are very much like normal, like tennis shoes, sneaker type style. There's nothing weird about them.
There's so much to unpack there, Daniel. We're never going to get into it. Like, nothing is normal. There's nothing normal about running shoes, Daniel.
Well, when you say like foam, I'm just saying like these are the design and like construction of these shoes is very similar to like other shoes that I've owned. There's nothing like unusual about them, so that's why I'm thinking they're not that.
They're probably not. So like, if they're not foam and they're not hurting you, it's probably fine. But also, like, it's really fun to buy running shoes, and that is a deep hole that you can go down.
I don't know if I'm ready to go into the deep hole, but maybe if I'm still doing this in a month and I haven't like destroyed my knees, then maybe I should buy some new shoes.
I mean, like, if you just want to be running on clouds, Daniel, I mean, like, the New Balance 1080s or the Gel Nimbus or like the Gel Excite from ASICS. The new Nike, what are they, like the Venturas are supposed to be really good?
Okay, I don't want to go too long on this topic.
Okay, yeah, we need to move on.
Let me ask you one question though. So, do you, and I'm sure this is like a matter of opinion, so maybe answer this for you, but like, do you prefer running shoes that have a lot of padding / do running shoes have a lot of like padding? So you keep talking about like foam, running on clouds, stuff like that, and I'm unclear on whether that's like something that you want. Or like, do you want something? Because like there was also like that big like barefoot running trend a while back, and so it's like, what is better? Like, is it better to have like a lot of padding to like limit the shock and the impact, or to have something that's kind of like there's not much between you and like the ground, and like which have you found to be better?
For me, I want like the shoes to help me. Right now, the hot thing is like more stack height, and so. Like, while the trend for barefoot running is still kind of a thing, the hot thing in shoes right now is like how fat your stack is. And like,
I want fat stacks.
Like
that's what I'm here for.
Competitively, they limit it. So like, if you have something that's more than like 30 millimeters thick, which over an inch,
that's a lot.
That's pretty thick.
That's a lot.
You can't like. It's like those are illegal to use.
What's the advantage to that? Why does that help?
It comes down to energy return, basically. And so like the newer
Is it like a spring?
A little bit, yeah. But that's kind of like comes down to like the materials and what you're buying and like what kind of stuff you have. So like the thicker shoes, depending on the material, like softer versus bouncier foams, can give you more return.
Okay.
And that's where also things like carbon plates and stuff come in. But basically, my opinion, which is like, you ask any runner, they're all going to have a different opinion. So like, this is super, super subjective. My opinion is you got to have a comfy shoe for your long runs. And then you need a shoe that is a little more agile and is less squishy for your tempo and your sprint workouts.
I see.
And so having like, then a race shoe is like something totally different on top of that. You don't want to be like doing all your daily trainings in a racing shoe.
Interesting.
And so like something like a New Balance 1080 with like the foam bottom, those are going to soak up the miles. They're going to like eat up a lot of that energy, and they're going to make you slower, but they're going to be really comfortable. And so if you're just kind of cruising, those are like, you're riding high on your bags or whatever. But if like there are other shoes that they have lower stack heights, they're much firmer, and maybe they have like lighter uppers that have maybe a little more spring in them and are better for like faster changes in direction and more tempo stuff.
Okay.
And so my opinion is like you got to have two shoes.
Okay.
If you're running a lot, you should have two shoes because your shoes are going to get tired. And so like it's good to rotate them.
Interesting.
If you're running 10 miles a week.
Yeah, that's not bad. That's not that
whatever.
much.
If you're running 40 miles a week, having two pairs of running shoes to be able to switch between is probably a good idea. Because like if you're doing that much, you need the support.
Sure.
And like if you're running every day, it's like changing them, alternating will help it a lot.
Okay. It kind of sounds like, I mean, I don't know. I think I would be in favor of getting like a softer shoe because maybe it would help some with like the impact aspect of this.
Daniel, we got to move on to the show, but like honestly, we could do an hour on running shoes, and it would still not be enough.
Oh my gosh. Welcome back to the Camera Gear Podcast. I'm Daniel.
And I'm Lucas.
And we're here today to talk about the gear, software, and techniques we use to shoot photos and video.
Okay, Daniel, you put this link up here in the show notes that says CineD Camera of the Year.
Sure did.
I have clicked on that link and looked at it, and I feel like you just put this on here because the S1 II was their choice for Camera of the Year.
Victory lap, for sure. That's absolutely what it was. CineD and I are on the same page.
It can't be that good.
It's pretty good.
I mean, every time I ask you about it, you're like, I haven't even used it yet.
It's
still in the box.
That's not true. I've used it. Let me also mention we did have somebody comment on Spotify from our Camera of the Year episode where where I had the S1 II as my Camera of the Year. It says S1 II. Well, the 25 photographers that shoot Panasonic will be happy. kind of true.
Yep.
There are not many of us, but this is our year.
Daniel, I had the opportunity to talk to multiple real photographers this year. They would agree with that person.
Real quick, the other things that they had a cinema camera of the year, which they gave to the Red V-Raptor XE8K VV.
Surprised they didn't give that to the Alexa Extreme, but fine.
That was on their list. I don't know. I'm not sure why they didn't.
It's a weird narrowing of the list too.
Yeah.
I feel like there was a lot of cameras they left out.
Video specific camera of the year 2025 they gave to the Nikon ZR.
Shocking.
I would have given this to the C50.
Well, I mean, you did.
Yeah. I mean,
or did you? No, you gave it to the Ursa. I gave it to the C50.
I think the C50 is a good choice, and the ZR I think was a really interesting camera, but I'm surprised it was their best.
It probably had to do with the budget and what it was, and that's whatever. Red Raw is pretty good.
Yep.
So.
And then their mirrorless hybrid camera of the year. That was the S1 II. And I think they also had a smartphone camera of the year, which they gave to the iPhone 17 Pro Max, which, okay, fine. Like, that makes sense.
I mean, CineD is very video focused. So, like, these all make sense.
Yeah. And they're also very, I would say, I mean, they're very spec driven, right? Like, they do all the lab tests. I mean, that's what we like about them is, like, they, it's like all about the data. And I do think the S1 represents itself very well and stuff like that because of stuff like the dynamic range and all that. I think if you're actually picking a camera, there's a lot more to consider, like the ecosystem and, usability and stuff. And like, they're probably not looking at that quite as much, but the S1 II is a pretty impressive camera.
Says you.
Says me.
It is. I'm just being mean.
I don't know. I just thought it was cool. Cindy and I are on the same page. So
I mean, you're not. There's others that have put that on top of their list.
No,
You're not the only one.
Yeah.
It's been topping quite a few lists this year.
We'll see what happens in 2026.
Well, it's not going to be anything Panasonic. I mean, they just like it took them 2 years to go from the S5 II to the S1 II. So I know. Nothing this year, and then maybe 2027 is the S1H Mark II.
Maybe we'll see.
Maybe, fingers crossed.
Who knows?
I'm gonna get a Fujifilm box camera before that thing comes out.
I feel like I can still buy an S1R Mark II anytime this year, and it will still be like, a good current camera.
Is that a good feeling?
I think it is, in the sense that it's always, I don't know if you feel this way too, but I always feel uneasy buying something like way through its cycle.
Yeah.
Like I don't love the feeling of like buying a laptop like a year after it comes out.
Yeah, like you want to get you want to have the most life of it being the best thing.
Yeah.
As you can get.
Yeah. Yeah, and I don't know if it's right to feel that way, because it's like it doesn't get worse when the new one comes out. It just doesn't feel good whenever you spend all this money and then it's not the newest thing.
Yeah, it's like you want it to be the newest thing for as long as possible.
Exactly.
But fortunately, these are going to be the Lumix flagship cameras until 2035.
Yeah, I know. I'm set.
All set. Okay. Daniel, let's talk about an actual new camera.
Okay.
I was going to say the first new camera of 2026, but that's not true. This came out last year.
Well, it's the first new camera we're talking about in 2026.
Is that true?
I think it probably is.
Okay. Snap.
We had the Leica last time.
That's true.
Yeah. Anyway, let's go.
Camp Snap Pro.
Camp Snap Pro. We did mention the Camp Snap, the original Camp Snap, last week when we were talking about the Kodak Charmera, but now they have a Pro.
They do have a Pro. It's all very exciting. Do you remember when the first Camp Snap came out?
I don't remember. I remember we talked about it at some point on this show, and it's a $70 camera. It's like 8 megapixels. Doesn't have a screen. Like it's kind of like a digital disposable camera.
Yeah, and it was made for kids going off to camp.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want to necessarily give them a disposable film camera, but you don't want them to be distracted by having a toy to play with. You want them to be able to just take pictures and move on. And so it very much just looks like a disposable camera, but it's got a little LED display on the back, and that's like a LCD display with like crystal pixels, and counts up the numbers, and it can take about 500 shots on a charge. And that was it.
And to clarify, when you say LCD display, you can't like look at your pictures. Like it's just to show you like how many shots you've taken.
But that's what those are. Like it looks like an old digital clock.
Yeah, exactly.
Right, but it's still an LCD technically.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean that was it. It was fun. And so,
do you know how popular they were?
Daniel, you have no idea.
I don't. That's why I asked.
There is a community of camp snappers out there. There's a subreddit, and there's a modding community, and there is a custom filter community.
None of this actually surprises me.
Daniel, the Camp Snap is a whole world.
Would you say that it's a way of life?
No.
It doesn't quite go that far.
I would not say that. The first one is the CSV 105. I'm just saying, if you go to certain places on the internet, people will be like, "Yeah, I shot this on my 105."
That's how they refer to it, huh?
That's what we're talking about here, Daniel. That's the kind of community we're talking about. This is all very, very like people just like they got to mod that LCD screen. They got to, kind of fix some light bleed, add some camera strap stuff. I mean, there's so many things.
Yeah. I'm looking at these on B&H. It's pretty, I mean, it's a cool looking camera. They are out of the forest green, which I think is a good color. But I feel like if I got this, I would either get it in the chestnut brown or the sunbeam yellow.
I mean, I'm looking at the sunbeam yellow right now. Looks pretty good.
It does look pretty good.
There were some issues with the original Camp Snap, the $70 Camp Snap.
Such as?
The flash was an LED, and so you would think that you're trying to get that blasted by a disposable camera flash look.
Yes. Yeah. It's like at a party in a dark room, somebody like blasts off that flash. Everybody has red eyes.
I don't know if the intent of the people who made this camera was for like retro camera nerds to like be able to get disposable camera looks and like geek out over what the camera is,
Yeah.
or if it was for kids who just want a flash to be able to like get slightly brighter pictures.
I mean, probably both, right?
But like that was one of the complaints. You could load filters on the other one, and so you could
you mean like a digital filter?
Yeah, like a film simulation style thing where it's like, hey, you made some adjustments and you load them in, but you couldn't like change it dynamically. You had to like load it on the card or something. They were made so that kids weren't like messing with like taking the card out and other things. So you had to like unscrew the door to like take the card out in order to like load the pictures. And I think there was no like filter thread. It was just like the you couldn't like put like a UV filter or anything like that on filter. It. Yeah. So like just kind of a few, it's a cheap, fun camera. Let's not worry about it. What they've done here with the CamSnap Pro is they've essentially have seen that there's a market there for the retro film nerd people and have added a bunch of stuff to the CamSnap to make it better. And it's $100, so it's like $30 more.
That's not really that much more.
You get a substantial improvement over what the CamSnap was. And so what that improvement includes is it's a 16 megapixel sensor.
That's still like I think it's double the resolution. I think that was 8.
Previous one was 8 megapixels. This one's 16. Wow. I mean, the pictures are still going to be terrible.
Yeah, but 16 is at least resolution wise, that's not nearly as limiting.
Yeah, I mean, like it's still a plastic glass, right? You're not like the images are going to be mediocre. It's a one type 1/3 sensor, so like super small, smaller than an iPhone sensor? Probably. It's got the full frame equivalent of like a 22 millimeter lens. It's kind of slow, but the filter thing, they put a filter like a dial on the top that you can rotate that switches between black and white, VTG1, VTG2, and standard.
You think that stands for vintage?
Probably. And one's like a magenta washed look and one's a teal washed look.
Okay.
I assume that you can load in your own filters into those. I don't know if that's true.
Surely they wouldn't have taken that feature away.
Yeah, I'd be shocked otherwise. Yeah. So like I guess you can load in a couple of your own filters. It's not like you can preview these things to decide if you like the look. It's like you got to like figure that out with some experimentation.
Sure.
And then you get them loaded in because like there's no way to preview the images until you're done, right? Until you take the SD card out. That seems like a big
part of the point of this camera.
Yep. So they made it so that you can't remove the battery. It's a rechargeable battery, but you can, instead of having to like unscrew to take the card and stuff out, you can like pop the door open, but you can still screw the door shut if you want to. And so it's like micro SD, rechargeable battery. You're getting like 500 shots on a charge, but you basically have to like plug in the camera to use it, like to charge it, and not being able to take the battery out and just like easily swap it kind of makes it a little limiting there.
Kind of annoying. I mean, 500 shots is pretty good, but it's a little annoying you have to do that.
Especially since like you may not be using this every day, and so you may forget to charge it and that sort of thing.
Did you notice that on the original, the viewfinder was directly above the lens, and on the Pro, it's like rangefinder style where it's on the corner?
I did not notice that. Some people had mentioned that as a thing, that they did move it. I know that on the original one, getting the alignment of the image was difficult. What I've heard on this one is that the framing lines are quite a bit better for getting your framing, but it's still not totally perfect. You are going to be dealing with some parallax effect just by the fact that it is a more rangefinder style.
Yeah.
But like that's kind of comes with the charm of the photo. You just kind of have to shoot a few different exposures and then, check it in post, crop where you need to. You have 16 megapixels now, so like there's a little bit of room to make some adjustment to get the framing that you want. They added a lens filter ring, so you can now put filters on this thing. Not just
that seems like a big improvement.
Yeah, like physical filters. So no fun colors, unfortunately.
Yeah, it looks, I mean, it's like vaguely Fuji-esque. I mean, it just looks like a vintage camera. It's silver top and bottom, like silver accents, basically a black body. I mean, it looks fine. It looks good. I like the colors better.
They did add a on-off switch. So
is that what that thing on the front is? Probably.
Yeah, probably. I think that could be the flash. The previous one, I guess, didn't have an on-off switch, and it kind of lended itself to some issues with where you might like press the button to take a picture, and the picture wouldn't take immediately.
Oh.
This one has solved most of those issues. So when you flip it on, it takes a bit for it to turn on. Like you have to wait a couple beats. But once it's on, when you go to take the picture, you press the shutter button, it's instant. It shoots. It shoots
cool.
when you want to shoot, so you can get that decisive moment.
Cool. I see what you did there.
Yep. And then I don't know if I mentioned that they upgraded to a xenon flash.
So the flash is a lot brighter now.
The flash is a lot brighter, and it's more like an actual like photo flash, where like it charges and it releases the capacitor, and you get that
nice
hot flash look. If it's like within 5 feet kind of thing.
Yeah.
So huge upgrade for the flash itself, and really it's like all the complaints that we had, the world had on the original Camp Snap, as far as using it as a photographer's like fun stylistic choice, have been addressed.
Okay.
And like the original Camp Snap still exists for like just given to a kid. But if you're like, I'm buying this for the looks, it feels like the Camp Snap Pro is really, really worth the $30 over the Camp Snap original.
Yeah, I mean, I'm honestly a little surprised that it's as cheap as it is for all that added stuff. I feel like they could have considered making it like 120, 140, like double, and it feels like that could have still been potentially worth it, because this does seem like a big upgrade over the regular one.
Yeah, it really does. It's pretty good, Daniel. I think it's a lot of good upgrades, and it's pretty interesting.
So what do you think about this type of camera? I mean, you're kind of into film now, and I feel like this sort of thing is like kind of up your alley, but also you have your Fuji cameras, and those let you do the film simulations and stuff. So do you think you'd ever buy something like this?
I think that these are fun. They're fun as like a carry around. Maybe don't like. I would be less worried about breaking this because it's like $70, $100 kind of thing. Be a bummer to be out the money, but I would feel a lot better about just like sticking this in my back pocket,
sure,
and then just having fun with it. I think like it's just kind of a cool little toy camera. You can get interesting looks. It does a little bit scratch that film itch in that you're getting these really compressed, blown out highlights. You're going through the experience of like shooting a bunch of stuff, and then you don't know what you're going to get until you look at it. And so
that's what I think is the cool part of it, is out of all the things about it, is like not being able to see the photos. I think that's kind of cool.
Yeah, like it is kind of, it's an interesting proposition, and I think doing photography in this way can like make it a different, more fun experience whenever you're like not jumping and checking the pictures and that sort of thing.
I kind of find this more compelling than the X-Half.
I think the X-Half is a totally different proposition.
You think so?
Yeah, I do. It's like you're picking your film simulations. You're like turning the dial. Did you hear about the firmware upgrade for that thing?
No. What'd they do?
Well, we can talk about it later. But like one of the things they did is you can now digitally wind the film while it's processing the image. And so previously where like you had to like,
that's a big improvement for that.
Previously it was like you kind of had to crank that thing a couple times. Like if it wasn't on processing and you crank the thing to move forward, it wouldn't move forward. But now like it'll let you just move forward, and I guess it takes the next shot into the buffer. So awesome.
That's a big improvement.
Huge improvement. There's a lot of like nice quality of life stuff that they did to make that camera better, but we can talk about that later. I think that the X-Half is a totally different proposition compared to this.
I guess I was thinking about this the same, in the sense that it's a camera that's not going to give you the best image quality, but it's about the experience, and this kind of feels like that to me.
I think that the X-Half is going to give you like decent enough image quality, probably substantially better than what you're going to get out of this.
Yeah.
Like,
well, it is like a 1-inch sensor, whereas this is...
And like you have an actual lens, and it's like a nice camera, and like there's more of this like shooting on a film camera experience, where this is like a shooting on a disposable camera experience.
I guess that's fair.
And it's like, I feel like that's enough of an equation there, where it's like, the X-Half is like shooting on like an Olympus pen. Yeah. And then maybe like a AE1, probably not AE1, but, and then a Minolta Highmatic AF2. And then shooting on a Camp Snap is like shooting on a disposable camera.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. So they are kind of in different places then.
Yeah. So like I've always thought like these were kind of fun. I mostly have dismissed them. until today when I found out that there's a mod community and like people just like make tons and tons of like film simulations for them, and you can just like load up custom film simulations and then shoot them. And the moment that I learned that, which was not very long ago, I was like, am I about to buy a CampSnap?
And man, the $70 is cheap enough that like, kind of like the Charmera last week, it's like it's cheap enough that it's almost like impulse buy.
Well, this is my question for you, Daniel. Does one buy a CampSnap or does one buy a CampSnap Pro?
Yeah, I mean, it's a big question. I feel like now that the CampSnap Pro is out, I mean, we just got done saying, I think if you care about the experience of using the camera and you're not like literally buying it to take to summer camp, I kind of think the $30 is probably worth it. $100 isn't that much more than 70, and it seems like you get a lot for your money.
Like, if I was going to buy a CampSnap right now, like
live on air,
like would you put with like a yellow original CampSnap at $70 that I can buy from B&H?
Yeah, no sales
and support
tax.
the podcast.
And support the podcast.
Or do I buy it from CampSnap and just assume that it's going to ship? Who knows?
Yeah, because they're kind of unclear on their website, right? Like it says pre-order on one page, but then another page says add to cart.
It's out, but it says due to overwhelming demand, stock is extremely limited. Order while supplies last.
I mean, from their site, it looks like supplies are lasting. So I don't know.
I mean, I go to the CampSnap Pro, and it's like, hey, pre-order. But then whenever I get to the page, it just lets me add to cart and buy it.
Yeah.
So my question, I'm not in a hurry, Daniel.
Yeah.
And so like maybe you just buy the Pro and then see when it comes.
Mm-hmm. I feel like that's what I would do. I think it seems like the Pro adds enough features that it's probably worth it over the regular.
You think the Pro is worth it over the regular?
Yep.
Okay, I was going to say the biggest problem is that they make you check out with Shop, and I just hate.
I don't think they hate
dealing with Shop.
Yeah, I think you can
No,
avoid
I can do it. I can do Apple Pay. That is the wrong address. I got to switch it to this address. Okay, so there's that one. There's my email. There's my address. And hold on.
Looks like you're about to double tap that button.
Wait for it. Payment failed, Daniel. There was an issue with Apple Pay. Try again using a different payment. They probably don't take Amex.
Yep. I'm sure that's what it is, actually.
Yeah.
No Amex allowed.
Well, I guess that means I'm not buying it right now.
Yeah. Okay. All that build up.
Mm-hmm.
You're probably never going to buy it now.
Yeah. No. Now I'm not going to do it. There's not enough momentum.
Yeah. I don't know. I think it'd be a fun thing to own.
Sure would. Sure would. I mean, that's it. That's everything on the CampSnap.
Yeah.
Seems
cool.
Let's scoot along, and maybe by the time that you play that thing over there, I'll have figured out how to buy this thing.
All right. If you'd like to support the Camera Gear podcast, you can subscribe to us on Patreon. It's only $3 a month, and you'll get early access to episodes, longer pre-shows, and occasional bonus content like written reviews of gear or maybe some photos we've taken on one of our recent adventures. This really does help us pay the bills and keeps this show running, and we'd love to have your support. You can find out more at patreon.com/cameragearpodcast, or there's also a link in the description for this episode. Thanks for listening, and now back to the show.
You make it sound way more fancy when you say adventures. Second follow-up question. Did you make that long enough so that when I hit my 30-second skip and then my 15-second back, it works? Mm-hmm. Or when I hit my 30-second skip, will I be like right in the window?
That one is about 32 seconds long.
Okay.
So you'll have to kind of be quick on the draw with hitting the skip whenever you hear the beep, but it should put you right in the pocket.
Perfect. Yeah, no, if I can get it right when it's just about to play the outro clip, that's great. Thanks for doing that. So, if everybody, you guys can set your skips to 28 seconds, and it should be pretty.
Maybe what would be better is if they just subscribe to the Patreon.
I guess
then they wouldn't have to hear that.
Oh, you don't. That's right. You don't play. I forgot that I've been listening to the Patreon feed, and there isn't a thing. But how do people going to take a break? When are they going to need to know to pause it?
Yeah, like when do you go pee? Have you seen that for movies? There's that Run Pee app that tells you like the spots in the movie when like you're safe to go to the restroom. That is a thing. That is a thing. Yeah. Yeah. If any current movie, so if you wanted to go watch like Avatar 3, the movie's like 3 hours long.
It's like 3.5 hours long. Daniel.
I mean, you've seen the size of sodas at movie theaters. Like, you were not getting through that entire thing without getting us to go to the restroom.
Jeez.
And there's this app called RunP that, like, for any movie, you put the movie in and it tells you, like, these are the spots that, like, you might want to go. Like, when this thing happens, like, you've got time, like, that's when you go.
Isn't there like a quote or like a famous quote or something where someone said that, like, you just make a movie but with like only the good parts?
Probably.
Or like 3 good scenes and no bad ones.
This would be up your alley rather than mine.
Like, what? Like,
such a quote.
If it's all good parts, when do you go?
Yeah. Well, then you're just out of luck. But if it's all good parts, I mean, is a 3.5 hour movie really only good parts? Like, I think the shorter the movie, the more likely it is to only be good
I mean,
parts.
what if it was just that many good parts?
Well, and they need to make it 2 movies. A sequel.
Oh, boo, Daniel. Because they're charging $99 for this instead of $100 for this, I don't get free shipping.
Do they have some, like, little accessory or something you can buy? Is there something cute?
I don't know.
If there's something cute, I feel like that might be worth it.
That's too hard. That's too hard. I have to pay tax.
Dude, they have a camera bag, and it's pretty good.
This is exhausting. No, I'm going putting it straight into my pocket. I did it, Daniel. I ordered a Camp Snap Pro.
I'm glad you finally followed through on that one.
The billing address is wrong.
Even better.
The shipping address is right though, so we're good. All right, Daniel. Let's talk about something that people actually care about.
Okay.
And I'll report back on the Camp Snap
Sounds
Pro
good.
whenever I get it.
Maybe
I'll post some pictures.
All right, sounds good.
I'm really excited about messing with those simulations, Daniel. I'm gonna make my own little custom profiles. It's gonna be a blast.
Oh man,
I'm not even gonna need that Ricoh now.
Yeah. I mean, imagine this is.
Do you think this is bigger or smaller than the Ricoh GR3?
Ooh, I bet it's thicker, but like overall volume, probably about the same.
I accidentally searched GR2. Hold on.
Oh my gosh.
This is great radio. Let's see. CampSat Pro is significantly larger than a GR3 in all dimensions. Oh, wow. It's like 2 inches wider.
Whoa.
It's 2 inches thicker. Dang. GR3.
That's a big boy.
The freaking CampSat Pro is huge.
Yeah.
It's as big as a disposable camera.
No kidding.
Oh, one thing on this. My first like camera. That's not a fair way to say it. In 2009, we were going to go on a trip to New York City.
Mm-hmm.
And
weren't you going for New Year's?
On New Year's. And
I heard people. Did you go to Times Square?
Yes.
I heard that people wear diapers to that. Did you wear a diaper?
They close off Times Square at like noon or 1, and so you to like be in it, you got to be like in it.
This is not a denial, just for people.
No. We went later and kind of like saw it from far. Anyway,
so you weren't in Times Square,
not like in, but near.
Like you're just like hanging out at a restroom right outside Times Square, so that you didn't need a diaper.
So we were going to go. We're going to New York City, and I had never been before. Doesn't matter. I don't like the only camera I have at this time is my slide cell phone with its 0.3 megapixel camera.
Oh man, yeah. Well, no. Did you have the Batman camera?
I may have had the 3 megapixel Batman camera, and so
that would have been perfect. Imagine the vibes.
My dad was like, "Look, someone's got to paint all the baseboards in the house, and I'll pay you $100." And I was like, "Deal." And so I painted all the baseboards, and he gave me $100. And then I went to Best Buy, and I was like, I'm going to buy a point and shoot camera. And like, what camera can I buy for $100? And I bought like a Kodak something, and it was like $105. And it was like 16 megapixels. It had a 4x optical zoom or something like that, or
nice
5x or something. And like the photos out of it were decent. Like they were good photos for the most part. 12, 16 megapixels. It was like $100.
Yeah, totally worth it.
There's no way the Camp Snap Pro takes better pictures than that Kodak. And they're the same price.
I'm sure that's right.
Inflation, man.
Yeah.
Ugh.
I'm sure that's right.
Like, part of me is like, wow, you can buy this camera. It's only $100. What a deal. Then another part of me is like, 15 years ago, $100 would have bought you a pretty sweet point and shoot camera that's like way, way, way smaller and a better experience all around.
But how much is that? How much would that Kodak camera cost today? That's the question.
I mean, literally that exact Kodak camera, probably $500 on eBay.
Well, even not like just saying like your $100 in 2009 is not $100 today.
No, it's not. Anyways, yeah, all this is just very frustrating for me. Okay, let's talk about Fuji, man.
Yeah. As the people are always clamoring for.
So we had like that whole episode where we've talked a lot about like Lumixes and Sonys and Canons and all the new cameras came out last year.
And Fuji was kind of quiet and all that and all those discussions.
Yep, and like there's no real rumors that Fuji's like we don't know. I don't know when the next X Summit is. There's no like real rumors about what Fuji's coming out with this year. There's not even rumors that they're actually coming out with like X-T6s or anything this year. But all signs point to this being the year.
Well, the timing seems right, doesn't it?
The timing seems right. The X-T5 and the X-H2 and the X-H3S all came out in 2022. It's been 4 years. They have pretty much ran dry the whole X-Trans 5 situation. Yeah,
they've released all the cameras in that line.
Other than the X Pro, which I don't think they're going to anyway, so it doesn't matter.
Yep.
It seems like it's time. Whenever the Canon R6 Mark II came out, that was about the same time as the X-H2. And at that time, it was really impressive that it could shoot uncropped 4K 60 because it was like,
right,
wow, this is doing something that an APS-C camera is doing in full frame. That's incredible. And similarly, we saw like, oh man, here's the R6 Mark III. It can do some like stuff without a crop that like the Sony A7 V can't do.
Yep.
And so I'm looking at the R6 III as that being the baseline now of what Fuji has to do with their next high-end camera.
Okay.
Now, like with X-T4, they merged a lot of the XH line into it and made it more video focused. And then with the X-T5, they kind of pushed those apart again, where it's like, here's your video focused camera with the lower megapixels, and here's your higher megapixel photo focused camera.
Right.
And like maybe they keep that up, maybe they don't, but I do think that Fuji cares enough about video specs that whatever comes out next is going to have to compete with the R6 III or beat it in a lot of ways. And I feel like because of the way that timing has landed, it's got to be like this year.
I feel like, you kind of talked about a couple of different things there. I do agree with you on the timing. This year seems like it would be a really good year for them to update those cameras to stay competitive. I kind of, there's maybe like 3 cameras in their lineup that are like these top end cameras, which would be right now the X-T5, the X-H2, and the X-H3S. I kind of feel like the X-H2 is a weird camera in that lineup. Like, it's the same sensor that's in the X-T5, but it's PSAM like the X-H2S, and it can shoot 8K video, right?
Correct.
I think which the X-H2S, which neither of those cameras can, the X-T5 or the X-H2S. And so I get that it can do the 8K video, and I get that it's PSAM, but that camera to me just feels kind of like a weird one in their lineup. And personally, I wouldn't be surprised if they didn't replace the X-H2. But, like I could see there being an X-H3S and an X-T6, but not an X-H3.
I think it comes down to what they're able to furnish as a sensor and what the X-Trans 6 stack looks like. Being that they didn't put that stacked 26 megapixel sensor from the X-H2S in anything else, it makes me think that having to have so many variants in this last generation is something that Fuji doesn't love doing.
Well, they had never done it before that. It had always been the entire lineup used the same sensor.
Yeah, and it seemed like they ran into this cost issue where they couldn't hit their price points without bringing back the X-Trans 4 sensor, and they couldn't take the stacked 26 megapixel sensor down to other cameras and that sort of thing. So I think
really
that
surprising.
Whether they split it up probably comes down to whether or not they can do something like a stacked 40 megapixel or even say partially stacked 40 megapixel sensor that can then deliver better results or equal results as the 26 megapixel fully stacked sensor could. So probably depends. I don't think the X-H2 was too weird personally. I think of it as the S1R2 to the S12, where you have the video focus one, you have the photo focus one, and they're very similar. And the photo focus one, worse rolling shutter, not as a fast camera, but you get all these high resolution modes out of it. And then the X-T5 exists because like they want that XT style line, and it just doesn't have the heat dissipation capabilities in order to offer everything that the X-H2 can.
There was a time when I considered getting an X-H2. I think when I was looking at buying the X-T5, I was like, it'd be the same sensor and it would have like the exact same handling as the X-H2S.
Yeah, and it's more of a pro body and that sort of thing, and so there's some appeal to the X-H2 over the X-T5.
That's true. Yeah.
So as far as like what this year looks like, I kind of wanted to talk a little bit about, and we've already dove into it, what we think that Fuji needs to do for these cameras to compete in this current, landscape. With the highest end Fuji cameras compete with the mid-range of the full frame world.
Sure.
Fuji's not really releasing anything that's competing with like an R5.
Yeah. Yeah, you have to go
Canon R5.
You have to go up to the GFX line to get any like a really expensive camera, and even those are like different enough that it's not really competing.
Right, that's kind of where they're differentiating. It's like if you want to spend $6,000 to $10,000 on a camera, and you want a Fujifilm, you're in the GFX world.
Yep.
If you're in the sub $3,000 range, you're in the XF world.
Yeah.
So with last year, A75, R6 Mark III, S1 II, the December before the Z6 II, all those cameras coming out, it's like it's time for Fuji to come out with whatever they're gonna do.
It is.
And so I'm curious, like what does that need to be in order for it to be competitive?
Yeah. I mean, I personally think the first thing, like, well, I don't know. I feel like price factors into it, because we could come up with a laundry list of things that would make for a great camera, but I mean, some of it kind of comes down to like, where does it need to land price wise, and then like, what are they able to actually like realistically do within that price?
I think that with the X-T5 coming in at $1,800, the X-H2 at $2,000, the X-H2S at $2,500. Is that right?
That was what they released at.
Oh,
that
then
is
they since
not
raised
what
the
they
price.
cost now.
What does an X-T5 cost now?
So right now, an X-T5 is nominally like, it's supposed to be $2,000. Right now, you can get one on B&H for $1,900 new.
Okay, so to me, with that being the price of an X-T5, and I assume you can still buy an X-T4 for
maybe
$1,300 used. So maybe they're not necessarily selling that. $2,200 for an X-T6 is probably where that's going to land.
Yeah, what does that put it competing against price wise? Like an S12E.
Yep.
Z6 too? Is that about the price?
Z6 II is about.
Sorry, I meant Z6 III.
Z6 III is about $2,200. Yeah. So like it's going to be cheaper, right? I think that $2,800 price point is going to be more of your XH series.
Yeah. So right now the XH2 is $2,300 and the X-H3S is $2,900.
$2,900?
Yeah.
Daniel, we bought that for $2,500 4 years ago.
They raised all those prices. If you get on B&H, I think this is interesting. If you get on B&H, the X-H3S is out of stock and it says 6 to 10 weeks availability.
Wow.
However, on Adorama, the X-H3S appears to be just available.
Yeah. So there you go.
So they are out there. It's not like they've disappeared from everywhere. But regardless, the X-H3S is already like tickling 3,000. $2,900.
I still think that's an incredible camera. So an X-H3S at $3,000, $3,200 probably isn't unreasonable. But I think that Fuji is maybe. Like they can't charge that much for an APS-C camera compared to the full frame.
I bet they would love to hit 3,000. I think you could argue, if it was a good enough camera, you could argue 3,200, because the S1 II is like 3,300, I think, and the S1 II, I mean, it is full frame, but it's definitely priced more competitively than like say like the Canon and Sony, competing cameras. So,
I don't think Fuji is afraid of like the fact that they're competing directly with a full frame at the same price point.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that they understand that they can't really push too far past that.
Yeah.
Like an R6 Mark III being 2,800,
that does make it hard for them to charge way more for a X-H3S.
It's got to be within shooting distance of that number.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's roughly the same price as an A7 V.
Unless the X-H3S was more of like a C50 competitor.
Sure, maybe they do like box style or something. I would be really interested in them doing that. Mm-hmm. Like maybe take the menu system and style of the GFX Eterna and do something like an XF Eterna that replaces the X-H3S.
They really have like such a good opportunity on that camera to take all of the video stuff that they've been building up. Like all we've complained that they haven't brought in firmware updates, but they've got all this stuff now, like waveforms and false color and all the video features they developed for the GFX Eterna. They could bring some of that down to the X-H3S, and it's just software. It doesn't cost more to put that on there, and that would maybe give them more value. Make it seem like a more premium camera.
It seems like the GFX team and the XF team are like in separate buildings. Like they don't talk to each other. The design of the GFX cameras just seems better than the design of the XF cameras for like the PC. They're the XH cameras. Like if we're talking XT series, like those are near perfect. No problems with them. Everyone loves them. They're incredible. But like the X-H2 and X-H2S, for instance, the the grip eventually like makes your hand hurt, but the way that they put the buttons on the top, they're front to back. And so like you can't necessarily press all the buttons easily when you're just like holding it.
I know we've complained about that. It's
versus
so annoying.
Like the Lumix S5 II, the buttons are left to right on the top, and you can just like move your finger along the buttons and press them. The GFX is like that, where they're left to right on the top.
Yeah,
and I think
clearly a more sensible design.
Yeah, this like there's not too many classic DSLR PCM style cameras that Fuji makes, and like the GFX ones are totally good, but the X-H2 design is not great. Mm-hmm. I love like the 7 custom modes. That's my favorite feature
for sure.
But everything else about that camera, like there's a lot that they could do better that they could bring from the GFX.
Yeah.
And so I made a list of some stuff that's on the GFX that I wanted to run through that I think that they need to bring to the XF line with this next generation of cameras.
Cool. What do you got?
So one is waveforms.
Mm-hmm.
Like, come on, guys.
Yeah.
Come on.
Waveform.
Like
what? Yeah.
2 years.
I mean, there's several features in that same category.
Pixel shift multi-shot. You have to like load your photos into a software now, and I think the GFX just has that built in. Question mark?
Interesting.
Maybe I'm wrong about that. They have this map and manual focus assist thing where this is like pixel mapping, highlighting thing for manual focus. It's kind of interesting. You can record externally to an SSD video.
Yeah, that feels like something that needs to be on the next XH camera for sure.
There's vector scopes.
Mm-hmm.
And then I've already talked about the 3-button design.
I think the GFX may have false color. I could be wrong about that.
I looked, I couldn't find it, but you may be right. It's just there's a lot of really cool video features that just exist on the GFX line. And it's like,
yeah,
I really hope that when they come out with a new XH3, they bring all of those things. But I kind of don't want them to stop there. Like all of the competitors have been doing like LUT support where you can load LUTs into your camera. And I know that Fuji wants you to use the film simulations, but having the ability to load custom LUTs for preview and for application onto footage directly is something that all of their not all of them, most of their competitors are doing. And I think we really need to see it in the next camera.
Kind of related, on the X-H2S, you can do F-Log2, display assist, where it shows you basically with the LUT on the camera screen, but you can't do it over HDMI. And that's also really annoying.
It is annoying. You have to load in the LUT separately onto your monitor. It doesn't send it over HDMI.
Mm-hmm.
It's frustrating.
That's a shortcoming for sure.
Yeah, definitely. So I have a few other things on here, and I want to kind of get your opinion on what you think, if like these things are reasonable or they would cost too much, or do you think that we'll see some improvement in this way?
Cool.
The GFX has a 9.44 million EVF.
Which is probably like one of the highest. Like that's on the level of like the Sony A1.
Mm-hmm. Do you think we would see that in?
I don't think so. I think it costs too much because I think that's an expensive part, and like you're not seeing that in like the R6 Mark III or anything. So I don't think we'd see that.
Dual CF Express cards.
Is that on the GFX as well?
No.
I don't know. Maybe, but I mean, what I really want is those combo slots where you can use either.
It seems like those are you're only getting if you go CF Express A.
Yeah.
And Sony is the only one doing CF Express A. I just don't think that's going to happen.
I think they would do 1-in-1, and if there can't be a combo, I think I probably prefer that.
A new film simulation.
That I could see happening. New X-Trans 6 sensor, I could see that because I think they like doing that as an extra appeal to upgrade. Like maybe not as much on these cameras because I think like at this level, you're buying more for those other features. But I think when you think down to like the person that has an XM5 and would want to upgrade, or the person that's has I don't know an XE5, like what makes them upgrade to an X-Trans 6? I think that one of the big selling points is film simulations, and so I think that they would want to introduce something new with the new sensor.
Do you think they're going to redesign the screen?
In like having like the multi-angle thing?
Mm-hmm. Or not have the stupid ribbon that you can just rip off?
I sure wish they would. I really like the multi-angle screen on the S1 too. But I'm not sure. Like it just doesn't. I don't feel like Fuji does stuff like that. Like it's a weird thing to say, but like they're not very imaginative with like that aspect of their design.
They had the flippy screen on the XH lines and the XS lines and the XT4, but
that's right.
Was not very...
it was a tilt screen, but it could also like
no.
Tilt
I just mean like the ones like flip out.
Oh, okay.
But no, I mean like on all of the XT, like the XT5, XT3, X maybe not the XT30. They had those ones where it's like you can tilt it, but then you can also portrait tilt it.
Yeah. So
and
they kind of did something.
I like
clever.
that lens and that screen design, but it is maybe like a little finicky. To me, it seems like if you could do something like the both tilt and flip, that seems like the best solution that we're starting to see.
I agree.
I just don't know if I have confidence in Fuji to have designed their own version of that and implemented. But maybe they will.
I think I'm skeptical if they would do that.
All right. So, how much better does the autofocus have to get for this to be competitive as a sports camera?
Yeah, that's good. It's not there yet, I would say.
Do they need like an AI chip?
Probably, man. Everything needs AI. It's hard to say. I mean, because Panasonic, I think, is also not there. They're not bad. Their autofocus has gotten a lot better with the phase detect, but I mean, it feels like nobody is on the level of Canon, Sony, and Nikon. And I think the Fuji needs to get better, but it's hard for me to like. What would I even answer in terms of saying like how much better? I don't know how to answer that, but I don't think they're there yet.
I think it needs to be as good as a Z6 III.
That's a reasonable metric, probably.
I think it needs to be better at grabbing and holding subjects, and I think they need to add auto detection to like automatically switch between subjects.
Yeah, that would help. Yeah, I guess they don't have that right now, do they?
I think that we need to see a generational leap in autofocus. I do think that whenever I went from the XT3 to the XH3S, it was a substantial improvement in autofocus. I switched from doing AF single, just period. I would do single point, focus reframe, AF single, and it was like fine. And I could like if I did that, I could always get it to like mostly get it to focus on the thing that I needed to, and I could reframe.
Yeah.
I went from that to using AFC and like tracking autofocus with my XH2S, and it was good enough that I felt like I could actually make that jump, whereas the XT3 I couldn't.
And then what about the XT5?
XT5 is just like a little worse than the XH3S because it's not XH2S because it's not as fast as a sensor.
Yeah,
but like it's fine. I still treat it the same way I do the continuous and the autofocus tracking stuff.
Okay.
We need to see that same level of leap forward.
I would say so.
We need to see that like 2-generation camera jump forward and autofocus from Fuji. And I don't know if we're going to see that, but I would hope that with the redesign of the full stack, because they do these like processor image sensor combos, and like part of that is probably redoing those algorithms.
I would think so.
It has to do with sample rates and all that sort of stuff. So
yeah, and like I think for video especially, most people think that Canon and Sony are the best, and I don't hear Nikon talked about as much, but I do think Nikon has really good autofocus.
They do. It's
and
like
if they could at least get to Nikon level, I think they would be competitive. I mean, by definition, if they could get to the Nikon level, they would be competitive in autofocus. And right now, they're just not there yet.
Yeah, it's not great, and it would be great if it was great.
It would be great if it was great.
So, what do you think? What do you think about the sensor situation? Do you think that X-Trans 6 is going to go the way of X-Trans 5, where we're going to see a lot of reuse of older sensors and a mixture in the lineup? Or do you think it will be a return to form for Fuji, where they will have one sensor that rules them all?
Well, we know they would like to have one sensor that rules them all. And I feel like the problem with the 40 megapixel on the current generation is it's just not fast enough. Like when you look at like what the X-T5, the X-T5 is maybe a little heat limited because the X-H2 has that same sensor, and the X-H2 can do 8K video.
Yeah.
But it's just not as fast as the X-H3S in terms of like, I think you're limited on your frame rates probably more than you are on the X-H3S. I can't remember for sure.
Yeah, I mean, you can still do like 30 frames per second photo, I think, on the X.
Well, but what about in video?
I mean, on that video, you are restricted. You can do 6K. You can't do open gate 6K.
Yeah,
and
so there's like things by 9 weird thing. I feel like, if they don't want the X-H3S to be a step backward, they would have to do a stacked sensor or do like the Canon magic where like it's not stacked, but it's just super fast. And I don't know. That could still be the one that is kind of weird compared to the rest, but I feel like otherwise they would sure like to use the same sensor and everything.
So for the X-T5, when you're doing oversampled 4K from like the full, I think it crops down a little bit still. Like if you do 4K HQ, it does a 6.2K resolution, and then oversamples that down to 4K. That's a 24.9 millisecond read speed, so like 25 seconds.
Slow.
So it's like not great.
And then I think you can only do it at 30 frames per second.
You're right. Yeah, that's it. Like if you do 4K 60 at line skips, and you get 13.5 millisecond read speed. It does 15 frames per second burst in mechanical, and then up to 20 in electronic.
Okay.
But with the electronic at 20, you're doing a 1.3 crop. So it is very speed limited.
Yeah. Whereas
compared to like the X-H2S, you can do 40 frames per second raw electronic shutter images, and it's great. So it would be nice to see that resolution at a faster speed if they can make it work with the price.
Like a 40 megapixel stack sensor.
I don't think we're going to see a 40 megapixel stacked, but I bet we'll see a partially stacked.
Yeah.
Like if they came out with a partially stacked 40 megapixel that could do, I mean, it's APS-C, right? So you should be able to get faster speeds.
Yeah.
So call it sub 10 milliseconds readout speed. That would allow them to offer things like 8K video and that sort of thing at pretty reasonable shutter speeds, and do oversamples and that sort of stuff.
It would be interesting if they could do the thing that the X-H2S does where you get 14-bit readout in certain modes.
I would love to see them push that further. I think that was a bit of an undersung feature in the color fidelity of those cameras.
I think so too.
I think that the fan thing that they did on the XH line was weird, where you could like screw that physical fan to the back of the screen, but you had to like flip the screen out and you screw the fan on, and now you can't close the screen. That was weird. It was weird. If they can find a way to do an integral fan into the XH line, something like the way that Lumix did it is really clever. Yeah. Where it comes in through the like the eyepiece thing.
Yeah, and it's still basically weather sealed or
it's still weather sealed.
Weather resistant, whatever.
If Fuji can figure that out and integrate the fan, I think it would make a substantial improvement on what those XH cameras can do, because they'll be less heat limited, and like let the X-T5 just be like the photo camera and it has some video features.
I do really like them having the separation in their lines like that, to where that way each camera can be really good at its own thing, and you're not trying to have like a jack of all trades situation.
Yeah, and I think that would work. Like even if the like the X-H3 and the X-T6 had the same sensor and the same processor, they could still have the X-H3 be this powerhouse at $3,200, and then the X-T6 could be like $2,500 or something.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's like, well, if you need all this other stuff, like that's not so heat limited, like go with the X-H3.
So if you're thinking about, we've talked a lot about video features, but if you're thinking about an X-T6, what features does it need to have to be a compelling upgrade to you, like with you currently owning an X-T5?
I think it just comes down to speed and autofocus. Like, I don't think I would necessarily be upgrading from an X-T5 to an X-T6 unless, and that's your question, right? What would it have to be? What I mean,
because it's been so long since the X-T5 came out that, you know, they would probably like it if people that were currently on an X-T5 upgraded. So what would that take?
I would, I don't see them doing anything that would make me upgrade. If they were able to squeeze even more megapixels in there, like make it 45, make it 60 megapixels, which I seriously doubt they would do.
Yeah.
That would be interesting. A substantial improvement.
Very angle screen, maybe.
A very angle screen and substantial improvements to the autofocus would probably be compelling to me to upgrade. I'm way more likely to upgrade the X-H2 than the X-T5. I think because my X-T5 is like a single shot photo camera.
It's easier for us to visualize improvements they can make on the video side because they've kind of dropped the ball on firmware updates for the X-H2S.
Like, for me personally, there isn't a lot of stuff that they would do to the XT line that would make me want to upgrade, but the places where I can see them making improvements are on the speed side.
Yeah.
Like, well, we talk about the autofocus quite a bit, but like if you could improve those burst rates and be able to keep up with the tracking just with a faster sensor, then like maybe this becomes a better wildlife travel camera.
Sure.
And you can get better like bird and animal shots because it can just land those focus and then do faster burst rates where you're not getting rolling shutter.
Yeah.
So things like that I could see driving a lot of upgrade. And like as far as resolution, I think 40 megapixels really is a sweet spot for these cameras. I don't think they need to push it, especially in that sensor size.
When you get to 45 and higher, like I'm thinking $4,000, you know, Z9, you know, A7R5. Like I feel okay with the 40.
Yeah, for sure. I think you're getting 14-bit RAW still on the XT line, right?
That sounds right. I would think so.
So, I mean, that's not any, like, if you want to go to 16-bit RAW in cameras, I mean, you have to go to like a GFX basically. Like, not even, there's no full frame cameras that are really delivering 16-bit RAW. So, one, that would be cool, but I don't think you're going to get enough dynamic range on this type of sensor in order to do that.
Yeah, so it may not really be worthwhile.
But I do think it would be really, really interesting because like Fuji competes with full frame and image quality with these cameras. And I know that maybe that's a hot take, but I feel like they do. I think it would be interesting if they did a partially stacked sensor to do some of that dynamic range boosting, where they do like the dual image and kind of pull that dynamic range even farther. And so like you can get more out of those. Yeah. Out of those images.
Yeah.
One thing I think that would be absolutely wild, that I like hugely divisive, is if they switched to bare.
Oh, that would be a huge difference. I mean, they've talked for so long about the advantages of X-Trans, it would be a weird shift, but it might let them use sensors that everyone I mean, there aren't that many other APS-C cameras, really.
Yeah, it's not really.
So I don't know. What do you think? I guess the demosaicing and software would be an advantage, but is there another advantage you're thinking of?
So the advantages for X-Trans are supposedly come down to like more brighter. You get more green, so you can get more kind of
Luma
like
information, right?
Luma information. There's all the talk about like what Fuji's doing with like chroma subsampling smoothing that we've talked about in previous podcasts, and like Lightroom doesn't really demosaic the images super, super well. I think that there's a lot of people who, okay, maybe not a lot. I think there's still a subset of people who are very turned off by X-Trans because of a lot of the limitations around it. And it is, you can't get around it. It's just more processing power because you have to demosaic larger sections of pixels
right.
in order to get the colors correct. And I still don't think it's like absolutely perfect. I do think the high resolution helps a lot, but I don't think, like, sometimes you may get like reds that are supposed to be a different color. And I mean, it's mostly been solved. I'm probably just, making things up.
Being dramatic
For sure. I think that if they switch to bare, it may entice people who have been avoiding Fuji up to this point to do it.
Interesting.
And the GFX line is bare.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, it wouldn't be the first time they've done it.
It could simplify those lineups and that development.
Maybe.
I would like them to stay with X-Trans because I think it's different, interesting, and fun.
It's fun that it's different, for sure.
It is fun that it's different. But I also think that it would be wild.
It would.
Because I mean, there's the talk about the whatever upgrade that Sony makes to the A7000. Did I get that right?
I don't think the A7000 is out yet.
A6700. Like whatever they do to the A6700, there's talk about, okay, what if it's like a fast stacked whatever, or like the R7,
and so that
similar
could be
situation.
That could be interesting if that. Well, the Canon one wouldn't, but with Sony, like maybe that would even be the same sensor Fuji could use.
What if Sony was able to just share that sensor or something? So I think that there could be some wildly interesting development.
Yeah.
If they switch that sensor technology.
Yeah, it would be kind of fun if they just kind of turned it all on its head that way. But I don't know.
I don't think they will.
But
if they did, maybe I'd be even more inclined.
Yeah.
Daniel, what would Fuji have to do for you to say, "Oh man, I should have stayed on Fuji"?
I don't know. I mean, I'm pretty happy with Panasonic, but I think if the if they came out with basically an X-H3S that was essentially an XF Eterna, where it was like a box style cinema style camera. That would be the thing that I'd be kind of like, man, like that's pretty cool. I would have liked to have like experienced that and have my same lenses that I can use on like my cool Fuji photo camera, but also have like a cinema camera that really feels like it has like all the pro features and all the things. I think for me, that's what I'd be interested in. Because I feel like Fuji has everything I could want on the photo side, but on the video side, the X-H3S has just been so frustrating because it's like it has the raw specs, but it just feels like they haven't like fully, like they haven't gone that extra mile to make it like a really good video experience. And if they did that, I think it would like really complete their lineup. And one of the reasons that I went to Panasonic was because I really like video features, and I feel like Panasonic gives you a little bit more of a pro experience in those things. So I think that's kind of what was missing for me, and that's what I would have liked to have seen.
What are the odds that Fuji comes out with X-Trans 6 and it's the same 40 megapixel sensor and the same 26 megapixel sensors that's stacked, but with a new processor?
I could see it happening because those sensors seem good. Like I don't really see any big shortcomings there. And most of what we've talked about is software stuff and is things like autofocus speed, which you could do with a new processor. So I don't know. I feel like they're going to want to make a new sensor just because I think people are more likely to upgrade if they know there's a new sensor. But I mean, I think we could still see a lot of what we want without them necessarily upgrading the sensor.
Yeah. I could see them do that, but I would be really bummed out about it.
Yeah. Yeah. Because then you'd have to wait a whole nother generation to get a new sensor.
Pretty much.
And one thing I do think has been improving on recent cameras is just overall ISO noise performance. And I don't feel like Fuji is bad in that regard, but I do feel like when I use the S1 II, it just seems like it's a very clean image. And I'd like to see Fuji take similar steps forward.
I think a lot of that comes down to just it being a full frame sensor.
Yeah, you're probably right.
But you're right. The noise performance has gotten a lot better in the last 4 years. So, man, I think that if Fuji doesn't do a sensor upgrade and it's like it's going to be a whole generation before the next big upgrade, that's probably the nail in the coffin for me. Like there's no way that I'm going to be like replacing my X-H2 with an X-H3. I'll be switching probably to Lumix, which is seems like what I have to do anyway because you're forcing my hand. But I'm still kind of like holding out hope a little bit that Fuji's going to blow us away.
Well, so we'll see what happens. I mean, hopefully it happens this year. I don't know when we would expect to see that. You know, sometimes they do X Summit in like April or something. I don't know what we would expect.
It's like that's just one of the things that like whenever I bought into Fuji with the X-T3, I was comparing an X-T3 and a A7 III, and the photo and video specs out of the Fuji were just so much better on paper for $2,000 less.
Yeah.
And I was like, I guess I'll go crop instead of full frame because I feel like I'm just getting so much more for my money.
Yeah.
And whenever the X-H3S and X-H2 came out, like it's like, wow, 40 megapixels for this price is incredible.
Yeah.
Or a stack sensor at this price is incredible. And you still get features out of the X-H2S that we're barely now getting in full frame cameras.
Yeah, in more expensive full frame cameras.
Exactly. And so it's like still on paper, a lot of the things that you can get out of these high-end Fuji cameras is really, really competitive for the price. And I want to see them keep doing that. And I feel like if they don't make a big leap forward, which seems harder and harder with how pricing and camera technology has progressed over the last 4 years, I think if they don't make a huge leap forward, it's going to be a weird changing of the tides for Fuji. And I don't know, I'm like just holding out hope that we're going to be really impressed.
Yeah.
That we're going to see things like oversampled 4K 120 uncropped or whatever out of some wild X-H3 camera. But
well, we know they have like the ability to make impressive stuff because I mean the X-H2S was really impressive, back in 2022. So that it's like they have good engineers, and it's just a question of whether they can get the parts they need, and and honestly where they want to focus their money. But I don't know.
We'll just have to see what happens. I mean, this could be the year, man. X-T6 camera of the year, 2026. It's early to call it.
It's pretty early to call it, seeing as it hasn't been announced. But
then like the rumors are slow too. Like maybe this is a spring 27 thing.
Yeah, could be.
Maybe this isn't even this year.
Yeah. Do you think that would like? At what point is the time too much for you? Like, will you wait as long as you need, or you think there's a point where you'd be like, okay, Fuji, like you're taking too long to release these cameras?
Man, if you finish selling your gear and buy an S1R2, I'll feel like I have all the time in the world.
Yep.
I mean, I still want to do things like rent a Pixis and start messing with that stuff. And, it's like, hey, we haven't seen anything in the beginning half of this year, and it sure seems like we're moving in this other direction. I'm not going to like let that hold me back from upgrading. I think that the odds that I'm staying with Fuji for another generation and I get like an X-H3, that camera would have to be like super, super impressive.
It could be.
And I kind of want to see what happens, but like also I'm not necessarily going to let that drive the decision. So I don't think I'm on a timeline, which is probably frustrating for you.
No, doesn't matter to me.
We need to mostly, I don't know, we'll figure all that out. And I really just want to see Fuji do something interesting.
Yeah, I want to see them release, these cameras that we're talking about. I mean, I hope we start seeing some rumors soon, because without the rumors, it's hard to really imagine they're coming. But, we know they have to update them at some point. And I would love to see what they do because the last generation was so good.
What about like built-in ND filters?
I mean, that'd be cool. We wanted that on the S1 too, and it didn't happen.
Or like a shutter angle.
Shutter angle feels like it'd be easy enough that they could add that for a video focused camera.
I mean, the stinking X100-6 has
it does have a built-in ND.
I mean, they should add that. That'd be great.
That would be great.
Like, I don't even need to be variable or anything. Just like give me a 4-stop ND.
Yeah, 4 or 5 stop, something like that, to where you can click it on, and maybe I would love that.
Chuck it in there.
Yeah,
why not?
Why not? That's it for the show today. Thanks for joining us, and if you liked it, tell a friend so they can check it out too. You can find out more about the show at www.cameragearpodcast.com, and you can find us on Twitter @CameraGearPod. We'll be back with more next week.